Now we are going to discuss another topic, that is high-low method. So a company wants to determine its marketing cost for budgeting purposes. Activity measures and costs incurred for 4 months of the current year are presented in the table below. Advertising is considered to be discretionary cost. What is discretionary cost? These are the costs that depends upon the management decisions. Salespersons are paid monthly salaries plus commission. The sales force was increased from 20 to 21 individuals during the month of May. So the sales force was increased from 20 to 21 individuals during the month of May. So the sale individual has been increased. So sales salary is 20,000, and it has increased from 20 to 21 in the month of May and June. So this is an example of fixed cost. Now, so we have activity here. We have the activity measures: sales order, units sold, and dollar sales are given, and marketing costs are given, and the month is given, and total cost is given. Let us see what they are asking for. Which of the following costs appropriately describe the classification and behavior of shipping cost? So they are asking about what is the shipping cost. So shipping cost has increased from 93,000 to 100,000. It has increased 100,000 to 114,000. It has increased, and 114,000 to 107,000. So from 114 to 107,000 it has decreased. So what drives the shipping cost? So the activity can be sales order or units sold or dollar sales. So let us see. From 2000 to 1800 it has increased. From 1800 to 2400 it has, from 2000 to 1800 it has decreased as well, but the shipping cost has increased. From 1800 to 2400 it has increased, and from 2400 to 2300 it has decreased. So there is no relationship between the sales order and the shipping cost. So let us see the units sold. Units sold has increased from 55,000 to 60,000, that it has increased, and it has increased. From 60,000 to 70,000 it has increased, and it has increased. From 70,000 to 65,000 it has decreased, and this has decreased. So the driver for shipping cost is units sold. Now let us see either it's variable cost or mixed cost. So let us divide 93,000 by 55,000. So when you divide 93,000 by 55,000, we get 1.69. 100,000 by 60,000, we get 1.67. 114,000 by 70,000, 1.62. 107,000 by 65,000, it is 1.64. So this is an example of mixed cost. So which of the following most appropriately describes the classification and behavior of shipping costs? So the classification and behavior of shipping cost is mixed cost. Now let us find out the fixed cost and variable cost per unit. So that is done by high-low method, by selecting the highest cost and the lowest cost, and the highest activity and the lowest activity. So that is variable cost per unit. So variable cost per unit will be highest cost minus lowest cost by highest activity minus lowest activity. So So the highest cost is 114,000 and the lowest cost is 93,000. So the highest cost is 114,000 and the lowest cost is 93,000 by highest activity minus lowest activity. So highest activity is 70,000 and lowest activity is 55,000. So 70,000 minus 55,000, which will give you variable cost per unit. So variable cost per unit comes to 1.4 per unit. Now let us find the fixed cost. So the cost at 55,000 units. So the cost at 55,000 units is, the shipping cost is at units sold for 55,000 units. When we are selling 55,000 units, the total cost is 93,000. So the cost at 55,000 unit is total cost is equal to fixed cost plus variable cost per unit. Now total cost is 93,000 and the fixed cost we don't know, we need to find the fixed cost, and variable cost is 1.4 of 55,000. So the fixed cost comes to be 16,000, which is 16,000 is the fixed cost per month and 1.4 per unit sold is the variable cost, fixed cost, and this, the classification shipping cost is mixed cost. So option D is correct. Next, in relation to the dollar amount of sales, which of the following cost classification is appropriate for advertising and sales salaries cost? First of all, sales salary is a fixed cost. Sales salary is a fixed cost, and advertising is 190,000, then it's 200,000, then it's 190,000, and it's 190,000. This is also an example of fixed cost. Next, the controller of a company has requested a quick estimate of the manufacturing supplies needed for the month of July, when production is expected to be 470,000 units to meet the ending inventory requirements and sales of 425,000 units. The company budgeted analyst has the following actual data for the last 3 months. We have production in units, we have manufacturing supplies. Using these data and the high-low method to develop a cost estimating equation, the estimate of needed manufacturing supplies for July would be, so they are asking for high-low method and the cost for 420,000 units. So let us find the cost at 470,000 units. So first we need to find the variable cost per unit. So the variable cost per unit is highest cost minus lowest cost by highest activity minus lowest activity. So the highest cost, the highest cost is 853,000 and the lowest cost is 723,060, and the highest activity is 540,000 and lowest activity is 450,000. So highest cost is 853,560 minus lowest cost is 723,060 by highest activity 540,000 450,000. So variable cost per unit comes to be 1.45 per unit. Now cost at 450,000. So Now let us find the cost at 450,000 units. 450,000 units. The total cost is equal to fixed cost plus variable cost. Total cost at 450,000 units is 723,060. So total cost is 723,060. Fixed cost we don't know. Variable cost is 1.45 into 450,000, which gives you fixed cost to be 752,060. So it is 7560. So now let us find the cost at 470,000. So cost at 470,000 units. So cost at 470,000 units is total cost is equal to fixed cost plus variable cost. So we need to find the total cost at 470,000 units. The fixed cost is 7560. That is 7560, and variable cost is 1.45. This is the variable cost per unit. This is 1.45. So it is 1.45 into 470,000, which gives you total cost comes to be 752,060, and which is option B. Next. An entity has the flowing cost. An entity has the flowing cost component for 100,000 units for a product for the year. We have direct material. This is your GM. We have direct labor. This is your labor, and this is your MOH. And this is your selling and administrative expense of 150,000. All costs are variable except 100,000 of manufacturing overhead and 100,000 of selling and admin expenses. This means the 100,000 of manufacturing overhead and 100,000 of selling and administrative expense are fixed. This is fixed cost, and here we have 100,000 of selling and administrative expense are fixed cost. So let us classify as fixed cost and variable cost. So fixed cost, direct material, direct labor, and we have manufacturing overhead, and we have selling and admin expense. Fixed cost and variable cost. So DM is not your fixed cost, direct labor is not your fixed cost. Manufacturing overhead, 100,000 of manufacturing overhead is fixed. If 100,000 is fixed, then 100,000 is variable cost, and for 100,000 for selling and administrative expense is fixed, and if 100,000 is fixed, then 50,000 is variable cost. So the total variable cost is 150,000, and total fixed cost is 200,000. Of this manufacturing overhead 200,000, out of this 200,000, 100,000 is fixed cost and 100,000 is variable cost, and out of this 150,000, 100,000 is fixed cost and 50,000 is variable cost. So now we have, this is manufacturing and selling and administrative expense. So DM is also your variable cost. DM is not your fixed cost. Direct material is variable cost, and direct labor is also your variable cost. So the variable cost total comes to be 450,000. So 450,000, and how many units we produced? We produced 100,000 units. So by dividing total cost by 100,000 units, we get variable cost per unit. So the variable cost per unit is 4.5. Now, so they are asking about the total cost to produce 110,000 units for 4 digits. The total cost, let us, the total cost to produce and sell 110,000 4 digits. So total cost is equal to fixed cost plus variable cost. So fixed cost we have 200,000, variable cost we have 4.5, and how many units they are asking for? 110,000. So fixed cost is 200,000 and variable cost is 4.5 into 110,000. So total cost comes to the 695,000, which is option C. Next, a corporation has the following information for the first quarter of its year. We have machine hours, we have cleaning expenses, and using the high-low method. So in order to find using the high-low method, first they are asking for fixed cost. So let us find the variable cost per unit. So variable cost per unit is highest cost minus lowest cost, that is highest cost minus lowest cost by highest activity minus lowest activity. So highest cost, so this is the highest activity, this is the lowest activity, this is the highest cost, and this is the lowest cost. So highest cost is 1200 minus 800, highest activity is 2600 minus 1600, that comes 0.4 per unit. So the variable cost is 0.4 per unit. High-low method, they are asking fixed cost. So total cost is equal to fixed cost plus variable cost. So they are asking for fixed cost. So total cost at 2600 units. So total cost at 2600 units, we have total cost is 1200 and fixed cost we need to find out, and variable cost is 0.4 into at 2600, cost at 2600 activity. So the fixed cost comes to be, the fixed cost is, by solving this equation we get 160, and 160, the option is A. Next, a company has the following budget formula for the electricity expense in its shop. So expense is budget formula for annual. This is annual. Annual electricity expense in its shop is expense is 7,200. This is yearly expense. This is annual. This is yearly 7,200. Units produced into 0.6. If the management expects to produce 20,000 units, so they are expecting to produce 20,000 units during Feb. For the purpose of performance evaluation, what amount of expense should the company expect to incur in Feb? This is monthly, and they are incurring a fixed cost that is yearly. So let us find the expense for the month of Feb. So total cost is equal to fixed cost plus variable cost. So total cost we need to find, fixed cost we can flex. They're asking for monthly, so 7,200 by 12, and variable cost is given, that is 0.6. So it's 0.6 multiplied by, they're asking for 20,000 units. So that is 20,000 units. So this gives us 12,600, which is option C. Next, a corporation wishes to determine the fixed portion of its maintenance expense, a semi-variable expense, as measured against direct labor hours for the first 3 months of the year. The inspection costs are fixed. The adjustment necessitated by errors found during the inspection account for the variable portion of maintenance cost. Information for the first quarter is as follows. So they are asking what is the fixed portion of maintenance expense rounded to the nearest dollar. So this is the highest activity, and this is the lowest activity. This is the highest cost. This is the lowest cost. So let us find variable cost per unit. So variable cost per unit is highest cost minus lowest cost divided by highest activity minus lowest activity. So the highest cost is 610 minus 585 by highest activity. This is the highest activity and lowest activity. Highest activity is 34,000 minus 31,000. So this gives us 0.008333. So now let us find the cost at 34,000. Cost at 34,000 activity. So that is total cost is equal to fixed cost plus variable cost. So we need to find only the fixed portion of the maintenance expense. The total cost at 34,000 units is 610, and fixed cost is, we need to find out, the variable cost is 0.008333 into at 34,000 activities, so 34,000. So the fixed, by solving this equation, fixed cost comes to be 326.66. So it is 326.66, which is 327. Next, management has prepared a graph showing the total cost of operating branches. Total cost of operating branches warehouse throughout the country. The cost line crosses the vertical axis at 200,000. The total cost of operating one branch. The total cost of operating one branch is 350,000. The total cost of operating 10 branches is 127. Total cost is equal for one branch. The total cost is 350,000, and the total cost for 10 branches is, this is total cost for 10 branches. For the purpose of preparing a flexible budget based on the number of branches warehouse in operation, what formula should be used to determine budgeted costs at various levels of activity? So the cost line crosses, this is the important information, that is the cost line crosses the vertical axis at 200,000. So if it crosses vertical line at 200,000, this is the total cost. So if this is total cost of 200,000, represents fixed cost. So 200,000 is the fixed cost, and this is the total cost, and this is number of branches. So the fixed cost is 200,000. So for one branch, total cost is equal to fixed cost plus variable cost. So to operate one branch, the total cost to operate one branch is 350,000, and fixed cost is given as 200,000 plus variable cost. So So we need to find the variable cost. So variable cost comes to us 150,000. Now let us find the cost for 10 branches. So for 10 branches, let us find the total cost for 10 branches. So 10 branches, it will be total cost is equal to fixed cost plus variable cost. So fixed cost we have 200,000 and variable cost is 150,000. 150,000 and it is for 10 branches. So into 10. So total cost comes to be 1700 1.10 million. So is y is equal to 200,000. This is the fixed cost, and 150,000 into x. 150,000 is the variable cost. This is the fixed cost 200,000 and 150,000 is the variable cost. So this is the correct option. Next. A company pays each member of its sales staff a salary as well as a commission on each unit sold. For the coming year, the company plans to increase all salaries by 5% and to keep unchanged the commission paid on each unit sold. Because of increased demand, the company expects the volume of sales to increase by 10%. How will be the total cost of sales, salaries and commission change for the coming year? If everything is in percentage, assume some numbers that will solve the MCQ. So we have existing system and we have the new system. They are asking for two things. First one is salaries, that is increasing by 5%, and commission and salaries and commission paid on each unit sold. Because of the increased demand, the company expects the volume of sales to increase by 10%. So let us assume some numbers. Salaries existing, if the salaries they are getting as 50,000, if the salaries are increased by 5%, if this 50,000 is increased by 5%, so what will be the new system of? If it is increased by 5%, the new salary will be 52,500. This is the salary. Now for commission. So commission, let us assume that 10,000 units. 10,000 units they are selling at a rate of 0.6. So if they are selling 10,000 units at the rate of 0.6, so we are giving commission of 6,000, that is the existing commission. Now this commission is increased by 10%. So the company expects the volume of sales to increase. So 10,000 units has been increased by 10%. If 10,000 units has been increased by 10%, it comes to be 11,000 units, and 11,000 units will be paid at 0.6 because there is no price increase. So if you are paying 11,000 units at the rate of 0.6, so the new commission comes to be 6,600. So the total salaries plus commission is equal to salaries plus commission is equal to 56,000, and as per the new system, salaries plus commission, that is equal to 59,100. So the difference between 56,000 and 59,100 is 3,100. Now let us find the percentage. So percentage change is equal to change by original into 100. So the change is 3000. The change is 3100 and the original is 56,000 into 100, which gives you 5.5%. So this is what increased by more than 5%. It is not less. The increase is increased by 10%, no. Increase more than by 10%, no. Increase by more than 5% but less than 10%. This is the correct option. Next. An entity estimates total material handling cost at two production levels as follows. What is estimated of total cost for handling 75,000 gallons? They are asking for 75,000 gallons. This is the highest activity, this is the lowest activity, this is the highest cost, this is the lowest cost. So let us find the variable cost per unit. So variable cost per unit is highest cost minus lowest cost divided by highest activity minus lowest activity. So this equals to highest cost. This equals to 160,000 minus 132,000 by 80,000 minus 60,000, which comes to 1.4. So the variable cost per unit is 1.4, and let us find the fixed cost. So fixed cost, so cost at 80,000 gallons your total cost is equal to fixed cost plus variable cost. So the total cost at 80,000 units we have 160,000, that is 160,000 is equal to fixed cost we need to find out, and variable cost per unit is 1.4 into 80,000. 1.4 1.4 into 80,000. So 1.4 into 80,000, so the fixed cost comes to be 48,000. Now let us find for 75,000 gallons. So at 75,000 gallons, total cost is equal to fixed cost plus variable cost. So total cost we need to find, the fixed cost is 48,000 and variable cost is 1.4 by 75,000. So 48,000 is the fixed cost and 75,000 into 1.4. 1.4 is the variable cost, that is we need to find for 75,000 units. Variable cost is 1.4. So the total cost comes to be 153,000 by solving this equation. So it is 153,000. Next. Jackson Company has the following information for the first 4 months of the year. So let us also what they are asking for. Using the high-low method, what's Jackson's variable cost of cleaning per machine hours? So the highest cost is highest activity is 2,600, lowest activity is 1,600, highest cost is 1,200, lowest cost is 800. Now variable cost per unit is equal to highest cost minus lowest cost by highest activity minus lowest activity. So highest cost is 1,200 minus lowest cost is 800 Highest activity is 2600 minus lowest activity is 1600. It is 0.4 per unit. Now they are asking the variable cost of cleaning per machine hours, that is 0.4 unit, which is 0.4 unit, because highest cost is 1200, the lowest cost is 800, 2600 is the highest activity and 1600 is the lowest activity. Next, Jackson's management inspects machine hours for the month of May to be 1400 hours. Given a variable cost is given 0.4 per machine hour and fixed portion is 160 per month. What is their expected total cost for the month of May? So the activity is given, variable cost is given, and the fixed cost is given. So let us find the total cost. So total cost is equal to fixed cost plus variable cost. So fixed cost is 160 plus variable cost is 0.4 per machine hour, that is 0.4, and number of hours is given, that is 1400. So this gives you 720, which is option C. Next, in preparing the annual profit plan for the Wilkins company, wants to determine the cost behavior pattern of the maintenance expense. Wilkins has decided to use a linear regression by employing the equation y is equal to a plus bx for maintenance cost. The prior year's data regarding the maintenance hours and costs as a result of regression analysis are given below in the opposite column. So this is the average cost per hour. You have A, B, standard error, and hours of activity and maintenance cost is given. The sum and average is given. So what they are asking for? If Wilkins company uses the high-low method, they are asking for high-low method. The equation for the relationship between hours of activity and the maintenance cost would be, so variable cost per unit is equal to highest cost minus lowest cost divided by highest activity minus lowest activity. So the highest activity is 520 and the highest cost is 4470 and the lowest cost is 300. Now the lowest cost is 2820 and the lowest activity is 300. So let us find the variable cost per unit. So 4470 is the highest cost and the lowest cost is 2820. Highest activity is 520 and the lowest activity is 300. So the variable cost per unit comes to be 7.5 per unit. So we have option, this is not A, yes, this is A, B, C, and D. So the option D is correct because we have 7.5x. So let us find the fixed cost. The fixed cost must be 570. So let us take this and find the fixed cost. So cost at 520 activity. The total cost is equal to fixed cost plus variable cost. So total cost at 520 activity is 4470 and we need to find the fixed cost, and the variable cost is 7.5 into 520, which gives you fixed cost comes to the 570. So the correct option is B because 570 your fixed cost and 7.5 is your variable cost. Now next, the least exact method for separating fixed and variable cost is least square method is an accurate method. Computer simulation is an accurate method. High-low method is the least accurate. The least exact method, this is the least exact method. The least exact method for separating fixed and variable cost is high-low method. Matrix algebra is also an accurate method. Accurate methods of separating fixed and variable cost. So the least exact method for separating fixed and variable cost is high-low method. Next. A company prepares a budget each month for manufacturing costs. Formulas have been developed for all costs within the relevant range 5,000 and 15,000 units. This is the relevant range, that is between 5,000 to 15,000 per month. The budget for electricity, a semi-variable cost, which is a mixed cost, is 19,800 for 9,000 units per month and 21,000 for 10,000 units per month. So the highest activity is 10,000 and the lowest activity is 9,000, and the highest cost is 21,000 and the lowest cost is 19,800. So how much should be budgeted for electricity for the coming month for if 12,000 units are to be produced? If 12,000 units are to be produced, what is the budgeted electricity expense? So using the high-low method, we can find the budgeted electricity for the month if 12,000 units are to be produced. So we need to find variable cost per unit. So in order to find the variable cost per unit, we have highest cost minus lowest cost by highest activity minus lowest activity, which comes to be highest cost is 21,000, highest cost is 21,000 and the lowest cost is 19,800. So highest cost is 21,000, the lowest cost is 19,800, and the highest activity is 10,000 and the lowest activity is 9,000. So which comes to be 1.2. What is highest activity? This is the highest activity, this is the lowest activity. So variable cost per unit is 1.2. Now let us find the cost at 10,000 units. Cost at 10,000 units. So cost at 10,000 units. Let it be cost at 12,000 units. And here let us find cost at 10,000 units. So the cost at 10,000 units is the total cost is equal to fixed cost plus variable cost per unit. So total cost for 10,000 units 21,000. Fixed cost and variable cost is 1.2 into 10,000. That is 1.2, and we are finding for 10,000 units. So fixed cost will come to 9,000. Now let us find cost at 12,000 units. So total cost is equal to fixed cost plus variable cost per unit. The total cost we need to find, the fixed cost is 9,000 and the variable cost is 1.2 into 12,000, which comes to be 23,400, and which is option C. Next, a firm operated four sales office last year. The firm's cost was 400,000, of which 60,000 were fixed. So this is your fixed cost. If 60,000 is fixed cost, then the variable cost is 340,000. 60,000 is fixed, so that is equal to 400,000. Now, the firm's total costs are significantly influenced by the number of sales offices it operates. Using the last year cost for the basis of predicting the annual cost, what would be the budgeted cost if the firm operates 6 sales offices? So for 6 sales offices, we need total cost is equal to fixed cost plus variable cost per unit. So our total fixed cost is 60,000. We need variable cost per unit. That should six sales office that should be multiplied with variable cost per unit. So this variable cost 340 is for 4 offices. So if it is for 4 offices, so per office we have a cost of 85,000. So this is variable cost per office, per one office or per branch. They are asking for what? 6 office. So variable cost per office. So if variable cost is 85,000 per office and we need to find the budgeted cost for 6 sales offices, 6 into 85,000, which gives you 520,000, which is B. Next. Over the past several years, an entity has experienced the following regarding shipping expenses. So fixed cost is 16,000, average shipment is 15 pounds, cost per pound is 0.5. Shown below are the budgeted data for the coming year. So what they are asking for, expected shipping cost. So expected, they are asking shipping cost. So average shipment is 15 pounds and cost per pound is 0.5 and fixed cost. So this is average shipment, though they are asking for shipping cost. So shipping cost is driven by number of pounds. So because cost per pound, this is variable cost and this is your fixed cost. This is variable cost per unit and they're asking for shipping cost, total pounds shipped. So shipping cost will be total pounds shipped. This is the activity and these are the cost. So now let us find the expected shipping cost. So total cost is equal to fixed cost plus variable cost per unit. So fixed cost is 16,000 and variable cost per unit is 0.5 into 9,600, which gives you 20,800, which is option D. Next, a manufacturing company estimates semi-variable cost by using the high-low method with machine hours as the cost driver. Recent data are shown below. We have semi-variable cost, we have machine hours. Now they are asking if 29,000 machine hours were budgeted for the next period, the estimated semi-variable cost would total. So high-low method, estimated cost for 29,000 hours. So let us find the estimated cost for 29,000 hours, which is we need to find the variable cost per unit. So variable cost per unit is highest cost minus lowest cost divided by highest activity minus lowest activity. So highest cost, first we'll go with the activity. See, highest activity is 30,000 and the lowest activity is 22,000. So we will take this as the highest, this as the lowest cost, because we'll go as per activity, not this one, not as per cost. So highest cost is 120,000 and the lowest cost is 100,000. Highest activity is 30,000 and the lowest activity is 22,000, which the variable cost comes to be 2.5. Now let us find cost at 30,000. So cost at 30,000 level, total cost for 30,000 level is 120,000. So total cost is equal to fixed cost plus variable cost per unit. So total cost for 30,000 units we have 120,000. So So we need to find the fixed cost, and the variable cost per unit is 2.5 into 30,000. So the fixed cost comes to be 45,000. Now we will find out the cost at 29,000. Cost at 29,000. So that is total cost is equal to fixed cost plus variable cost. So total cost, we need to find the total cost for 29,000 units. So fixed cost is 45,000 and variable cost is 2.5 times 29,000. So this comes to be 117,500, which is 117,500, and they are asking for 29,000 and cost at 29,000, that is 117,500. Next. A company records the following production cost during the previous 2 weeks. So this is week 1, this is week 2. Costs are given, and they're asking for, assuming both weeks fall in the same relevant range, what was the total fixed cost during week 1? So they are asking for total fixed cost for week 1. Total fixed cost for week 1. So let us find the activity and the cost. Then we will find variable cost per unit. Then we will find the cost. So activity at 5,000 level, the cost is, so the activity is 5,000 and we have 6,000. 5,000 and 6,000, and the cost, these are the cost. So for 5,000 units we have a cost of 42,000. 17,000 plus 25,000, that is 42,000. And for week 2 we have a cost of 19,500 plus 28,000, which comes to 47,500. So cost at 5,000 units. So total cost at 5,000 units. So cost at 5,000 units. That is week 1 we have 5,000 units. So let us find the total cost. So total cost is equal to fixed cost plus variable cost per unit. Now fixed cost we need to find, and variable cost we need to find, and the number of units is 5,000. Then we'll get, and the total cost at 5,000 units we have 42,000. At 5,000 units the total cost is 42,000 units. So we need now variable cost per unit. So let us find the variable cost per unit. So variable cost per unit is highest cost minus lowest cost divided by highest activity minus lowest activity. So the highest cost is 47,500 and the lowest cost is 42,000 by highest activity is 6,000 minus 5,000, which comes to be 5.5. So now, so total cost for 5. So this is variable cost 5.5. Variable cost per unit is 5.5. So 5.5 per 5,000. So fixed cost comes to be 14,500, and B is the correct option because we got 14,500. Next. A conglomerate outsources the cleaning of its theaters. The cleaning vendor's charges are based on the total hours needed to clean the facilities, and more cleaning times is needed as more people attend the theater. The conglomerate has accumulated the following historical data. Month, cleaning cost and number of theatre tickets are sold. The conglomerate anticipates selling 25,000 theatre, so they are asking the cost at 25,000 theatre tickets. If the conglomerate uses the high-low method of separating, we have to find at 25,000 by high-low method of separating costs into the fixed and variable components. The conglomerate budgeted for August cleaning cost would be for 25,000 units. So let us find the lowest activity and the highest activity, lowest cost and the highest cost. So the lowest cost is the lowest activity is 70,000, highest activity is 29,000, lowest cost is 9,000, 17,000, 9,000, 29,000, highest is 15,000. Because we go as per the activity, not as per the cost. So the highest cost is 29,000, highest activity is 29,000 and lowest activity is 70,000. So cost is 19,000 and 15,000. So variable cost per unit is highest cost minus lowest cost by highest activity minus lowest activity. So that is highest cost is 15,000 and the lowest cost is 9,000 and the highest activity is 29,000 and the lowest activity is 17,000, which comes to 0.5. Now let us find the cost. So the cost at 29,000 units. So at 29,000 units, what is the cost? It is 15,000. So total cost is equal to fixed cost plus variable cost per unit. So total cost at 29,000 units is 15,000. So fixed cost is fixed cost. We need to find variable cost is 0.5 at the level of activity, that is 29,000, which comes 500 is the fixed cost. So now let us find the cost at 25,000, which is the requirement. The total cost is equal to fixed cost plus variable cost. So we need to find total cost at 25,000 units. So fixed cost is 500 and variable cost is 0.5. This is the high-low method. We found 0.5. That should be multiplied with 25,000, which gives you the total cost to be 13,000 and which is 13,000. Next. The controller of an online retailer has negotiated a 5-year contract with a shipping company to pay the following amounts annually for the delivery of its goods, regardless of the amount. So it is regardless of the amount. So this regardless of the amount is fixed cost. So what type of costs are these shipping expenditure? They are fixed costs. Next. A manufacturing company is in the process of preparing its flexible budget for the next month manufacturing cost. The company estimates the cost within the relevant range of 10,000 to 30,000 units per month. During the last 2 months, electricity costs were 39,600 for 18,000 units and 42,000 for 20,000 units. How much should be budgeted for electricity cost to produce 24,000 units? They are asking for 24,000 units and highest cost and lowest cost is given. It's 39,600 is the highest cost. No, 39,600 is the lowest cost, and 40,000 is the highest cost, and this is the highest activity, and we have lowest activity. So let us find the variable cost per unit. So this is variable cost per unit is highest cost minus lowest cost divided by highest activity minus lowest activity. Now the highest cost is 42,000 and the lowest cost is 39,600. Highest activity is 20,000 and the lowest activity is 18,000. So the variable cost per unit comes to be 1.2 per unit. So now let us find the total cost at 20,000 units. So cost at 20,000 units. So the cost at 20,000 units is equal to total cost is equal to fixed cost plus variable cost per unit, and we need to find the fixed cost. Total cost for 20,000 units is 42,000. So that is 42,000 for 20,000 units is 42,000. That's why it's 42,000. We need to find fixed cost and variable cost. We found that is 1.2, that's multiplied by 20,000 units. So fixed cost comes to be 18,000. Fixed cost is 18,000. Now let us find at 24,000 units. So that is cost at 24,000 units. That is total cost is equal to fixed cost plus variable cost per unit. We need to find the total cost. So fixed cost is 18,000. Fixed cost is 18,000 and variable cost per unit is 1.2 into 24,000. So 1.2 into 24,000, that gives you 46,800, and 46,800 is B.